Bing bongy bong, bing bongy bong. This is Joe, the bearded historian. He'll tell you an interesting story. Be careful of his soldiers, they can be brats. This is Angel, she's an entity. She'll cause chaos and plant her hands at you. This is Sue, she likes spirits, not the alcohol. She's the reason this channel exists. This is David, he likes fire trucks. He's here occasionally. Bing bongy bong, bing bongy bong, bing bongy bong. We preserve his story.
Good morning. It's almost the end of March. Technically, it is the end of March. April will start on Wednesday. We have an April Fool's joke for you. Hopefully, you'll get it. Hopefully, we'll see. A new race is pandas. And we're going to go see a Bodego. Do you know what that is? Hang on, one moment. All right. We got a new race, pandas. Here we go. Wait, I almost forgot. Pause. Pause the rolling pandas. Are you ready? Oh my goodness. The camera's dirty. Yeesh. Sorry about that. Shout out time. Here's a shout out just for you. You support me, so I support you. This shout out is for our friends. Let's see who it is today. Back to the rolling pandas. Okay, so we've got South Dakota podcast, Cinephile. There's Rural Adventure, Yogi Popcorn, Sarah Adventure, Resin, Crazy Train, Brooks. That podcast, Rural Treasure, Tay Eats, I'll see. There's Jocelyn, M&J, Trip, Barry, Amboys, Light, 755. Oh, don't fall back, silly woman. Scott, Barry's in the lead currently. There's Bell. Oh, South Dakota's going to win. South Dakota for the win. Okay, hang on a minute. Okay, this is SD Mountain Man. He lives on the other side of our wonderful state. And as you can see, he posts randomly. He's got mail calls. Does some outdoor stuff. You got some shorts. And some lives long ago. Oh, I missed one. How sad. I'll have to catch up on that. But if you like outdoor stuff, you like South Dakota, check him out. Like, share, comment, and enjoy the video.
Oh, not bad. Been there. Of course, we've also been on the underground sites. And, well, welcome to the rock. $50 admission. We do have guided tours at the top of the hour, about 15 minutes. And we also have the self-guided tour that's included also if you want to do that. How's the breathing?
I just need a minute.
Okay.
I'll be fine.
Give her a minute.
It's up to you, babe, but I think we might do slightly better with the self-guided. We tend to take our own time. Do you guys have a restroom or nowhere once?
Yeah, I have a restroom right over here.
Okay, good.
All right, you want to sign up for the self-guided tours then? Is that what we're doing?
I think so.
Yeah.
Is that okay, boss?
Yeah. Okay. We'll probably take an hour doing our self-guided right now.
Like I said, that's the way we can kind of take our time if we want to.
So see, every room has a board like right here that talks about what's in all the different rooms. And as you go through, and I will give you kind of a layout on it. Are you with these folks? Or? No, I'm not. So it's $15 admission. We have a guided tour starting at the top of the hour, or you could do a self-guided tour. Either way, it's $15 for the admission. All right? All right, come on back. We'll get you hooked up, folks. Okay.
Okay. grab that real quick and then I'll join you. Ah, tickets. Okay, here we go.
Okay, go ahead and have your card
So
too.
apparently even the self-guided one was $15.
I know.
Okay, put it, go
He said
ahead.
either way,
Yeah.
which is why I figured we might as well take our time and
There we
Yeah.
go.
do it at our own pace.
Okay.
All right, so here is
It's up to you. We can always
pass.
do it another time.
That's okay.
But
Oh,
I figured it'd...
You want a receipt?
Classy assassin, roll that off.
Alrighty. So there's your pass. Now every room has a brown board in it that tells you about the rooms. If you want to go ahead and get
Oh, those
started
are
on the
cute.
boat tour while I can finish up with these folks. She'll go for it. Okay. Alrighty, so go ahead and, yeah, good ticket.
Yep.
So here are your two passes, and I'm gonna.
Oh, those are cute. I like that. Those are fun. We'll have to keep
Would
those.
you like a receipt today?
No, we're good there.
Okay, no receipt.
We'll have to keep those. Those are cool.
So if you just go ahead around the corner here, and where that young lady there is telling him about the tours, she'll give you a breakdown of what you got to look forward to.
Cool.
There you go, babes.
There we go.
My husband likes history. All right.
Okay. And yeah, right around the corner, that large room's the parlor.
Are you doing self-guided as well?
Yes.
Okay, well, come in here and I'll give you an overview. So this is the parlor where we suggest you begin. Every room will have an information board like that summarizes, and of course there's other things too for you. And then there will be a sequence from 1876 to the late 1970s in that side of the hall.
Okay.
So go down the hallway, come back through here. This is the finance room, talks about money. And then
Okay.
back in the corner, it will give you an overview of what happened to close the brothels down. Of course, the hallways have lots of information as well. Behind the red curtains is a 15-minute documentary type video, locals that were interviewed. It's on a loop. Anytime you go in, it will come back around to where you began. Okay? And Nick and I are here to answer questions, and so enjoy. Any questions?
Oh, sounds fun.
Yeah. All right. Well, enjoy, and like I said, we'll help you if you have any questions. Okay. Take your time.
Interpretation of prostitute in the brothels was a fundamental aspect of Deadwood's unique history. This building, located at 610 Main Street, was built in 1902. Auto parts store. Well, that's fun. It looks like they're ready for New Year's, babes. I said, look, they're ready for New Year's.
Obviously. Lots of,
What are you supposed to have medals for? Because it looks more like a medal than it does a necklace.
the old Rogers medallion war.
Interesting. Oh, look, I found Tiny Witch's hat. That's cool. Every Western TV series, Hollywood movie, novel, some element of prostitution makes an appearance. That's true. Interesting.
I remember reading somewhere somebody said that it was one of the oldest professions in.
Oh, I'm sure it is. I mean, it was in the Bible, so, you know. Oh, wow. $1876.
Scene of Deadwood, 1876, paints a vivid picture of lawless, booming settlement rooted in defiance of both treaties and regulations. The setting reflects the raw, desperate conditions of frontier life where the pursuit of gold and survival outweighed the legal and moral constraints. Deadwood's population explosion was fueled by the Black Hills Gold Rush in direct violation of the 1868 treaty. The treaty designated the Black Hills as part of the Great Sioux Nation meant exclusively for Native Americans. The influx of miners, adventurers, and opportunists disregarded these boundaries entirely. The thriving activities of alcohol, gambling, mining, and prostitution operated blatantly outside the law, contributing to a chaotic and opportunistic atmosphere.
Yep.
A wagon train led by Colorado Charlie Utter brought many iconic figures like Wild Bill Hickok and Calamity Jane, blending historical figures into the mythos of the American West. The arrival of experienced women like Madame Mustachio and Dirty M, alongside others
Oh
who
my
sought
goodness.
to make a living, that name, make a living through sex work underscores the entrepreneurial spirit of those who saw opportunity in Deadwood's boomtown chaos. Early prostitution in Deadwood occurred in makeshift cribs or boxes within dance halls and saloons. These were crude, basic setups reflecting the utilitarian nature of the early sex work in the settlement. A lack of comfort or privacy highlights the transactional nature of these exchanges, which were primarily about survival in an unforgiving environment. With the vast majority of Deadwood's early population being male, the demand for sex work was high, and the women who arrived to meet that demand carved out a place in this rugged, male-dominated world. Despite its illegality, prostitution became a tolerated and integral part of the settlement's burgeoning economy, reflecting the pragmatic attitude of its inhabitants. This snapshot of Deadwood in its infancy not only reveals the hardship of the frontier life, but also hints at the resourcefulness and resilience of its inhabitants. It serves as the starting point for the understanding and evolving role of sex work in the town's history. It also is kind of interesting because the other place down the street we took the tour of also was a brothel.
Mm-hmm.
Chairman of the Democratic Executive Committee of Dakota married one of the fair but frail sisterhood. One of the most startling moves, novel matrimonial affairs that ever came out of our observation took place in this city last Sunday evening. The groom was Dr. C.W. Meyer, chairman of the Territorial Democratic Executive Committee of the Dakotas, a kinsman of the Randolphs of Virginia and New Jersey, a well-known newspaperman, and one of the leading physicians in the hills. His bride was Miss Annie Heiser, otherwise known as Little Buttercup, for some time past an intimate of Madame Molly Johnson's fashionable Seraglio on Sherman Street. The strange ceremony took place in Cooley and Doherty's Opera House, which was brilliantly illuminated and crowded with curious spectators, among whom were County Treasurer Robert Neal, Major P.H. Gallagher, Colonel J.F. McKenna, Colonel R.C. Webster, W.H. Stillwell, Dr. R.S. Law, representatives of the Pioneer Press and Times, the Knights of Cyrus, almost in a body, and other prominent citizens. The bride was attended by Madame Molly Johnson and a bevy of frail sisterhood in royal attire. Justice Clark, armed with a formidable copy of the Dakota statutes, pronounced the formula which made the strangely assorted couple man and wife, and many of the lookers-on remained to supper with flowing rivers of champagne in the rooms below.
Impressive work of Ashley.
Astley.
That's what I get for trying names.
David Middleton Cooper was owned by a brothel proprietor and historic figure, Poker Alice Tubbs. It was prominently displayed in the parlor of her resort in Sturgis and was on the wall the night Alice fired and killed one of the several soldiers who were ransacking her property. The July 17, 1913, Weekly Pioneer Times Mining Review reported, no complaint had been or will be filed by State's Attorney Gray of Meade County against Poker's Alice Tubbs, who on the Monday night last shot and killed Private Fred Costille, a member of the 12th U.S. Cavalry. It goes on to state that the woman was justified in the shooting and that at the time she shot Costille, he and other cavalrymen and members of the state militia now camped at Fort Meade were engaged in attempting to destroy her personal property, and she was justified in using the means employed to defending or attempting to defend the property. Alice willed the painting to Big Huldah, madam of the brothel located at 555 Main Street in Deadwood. From there, the painting made its way to the Corner Bar in Gillette, Wyoming. Don Clauser, longtime Deadwood Main Street businessman, next acquired the painting and added it to his personal collection. In 2000, the City of Deadwood Historic Preservation Commission purchased the collection. The painting is on loan from the City of Deadwood's Historic Preservation Office. For years, there's been speculation that the buckshot holes in the painting might have been part of that fateful night in 1913. While no evidence of this exists, it is clear that the work of art has seen some interesting things over its history in and around Deadwood.
Interesting.
The Daniels in the Theater in Cheyenne, Wyoming. Wanted 6 good women. Steady employment. Apply at once. Larissa Keel, one of the entrancing dancers.
Right.
Melody Cerrito again. The Vadas twin sisters. Baby and James McDonald. You're cleaning up a hot air balloon there.
That's cool. What do you suppose those are?
Not sure. They're, got artwork on them though.
I can see that.
Calendar.
Huh, interesting.
Yeah, you can make out the dates you're getting close.
Interesting.
1897. Wow.
Interesting. Licensed for prostitution. Wow. Teacup Sally.
Where do you hold the teacups? Place your bet.
Well, at least you know how she got her name.
On July 1st, 1877, there were 75 saloons in Deadwood.
Wow.
The town is as young as just as long as it stays off the railroad. But Deadwood was so young, so long, that it will never quite forget its youth. Buffalo Bill Cody. Of course, Watson Parker, he's the guy that's in charge of the Deadwood, Ghost Towns books. A fair but frail denizen of the lower levels of the city became despondent yesterday morning and attempted to wing her way to the stars by imbibing a decoction composed half of whiskey and half Londium, commonly known as a Kansas City cocktail. Police conners were notified of the attempted suicide, summoning Dr. Babcock, and the two managed to drain her out. In the afternoon, she paid a fine to Judge Hall for being drugged and disorderly.
charitable act.
The old costume pieces. I can understand why they called her Madame Mustache.
Right? Charitable act. 2 afternoon, a little girl named Stapleton, about 12 of age, came down from Leeds City for some unexplained reason. She did not return. And about dark, Molly Johnson found little thing shivering and crying on Sherman Street near her house. She at once took her and sat her by the fire, gave her supper, after which she sent Hank Beeman to take charge of her. He took her home with him and kept her overnight. The next day he sent her back to her parents in Leeds. Interesting.
Working room in 1870 to 1900. Evolution of the Deadwood sex trade. In the 1880s, prostitution in Deadwood had shifted from the rudimentary cribs and saloons and dance halls to more established locations like the second floor of the infamous Gem Theater, operated by the unscrupulous Al Swearingen. The era marked the gradual professionalization of brothels, transforming them into a more structured, albeit still dangerous, enterprises. The Gem Theater, a hub of vice, Al Swearingen's role. Al Swearingen opened the Gem Theater in 1877, combining theatrical performances, alcohol, gambling, and prostitution under one roof. Swearingen is known for his ruthlessness, profiting greatly from the exploitation of women who worked for him and others who frequented the Gem. The establishment reported earned over $5,000 a night, an astonishing sum for the era. Kitty Leroy, a spirited and independent woman, arrived in Deadwood and quickly became a fixture at the Gem Theater. She is a skilled gambler and performer, embodying the bold and enterprising character of many women in the West. Kitty married Sam Curley, a professional gambler, but their relationship was fraught. When Sam discovered Kitty was still married to a previous husband, and rumors of infidelity spread, he left Deadwood in anger. Kitty reconnected with an old lover in Sam's absence, fueled by the jealousy and betrayal. Sam returned and fatally shot Kitty in the Lone Star Saloon before taking his own life. The violent deaths and the hasty, unmarked burial symbolize the volatile and perilous lives of those in Deadwood's underworld. Now, Madame Molly Johnson ran her brothel with a vastly different philosophy than Al Swearingen. Her establishment was renowned for its refinement and the humane treatment of the workers. Molly's girls were reportedly young, blonde, and attractive, a deliberate marketing strategy. Unlike the coercion often seen elsewhere, the women working at the bordello were there by choice, enjoying greater autonomy and better conditions. Molly became wealthy and well regarded for her savvy and emphatic business practices. Her reputation starkly contrasted with the cruelty and exploitation that defined many brothels of the time. Now, the era from 1970 to 1900 highlights the dual realities of the sex trade in Deadwood. Figures like Al Swearingen thrived on exploitation, and their tragic stories like Kitty Leroy's illustrate the perilous lives of women caught in volatile situations. Entrepreneurs like Madame Molly Johnson provided a glimmer of hope, demonstrating how some women managed to navigate and control their circumstances in a male-dominated and often violent society. The period reflects the interesting complexity of the sex trade in Deadwood as the town transitioned from chaotic frontier beginnings to a more structured yet still morally ambiguous community. I'm going to say it, and I'm going to say it once so that nobody gets interrupted. Somebody else is in here.
What? No. I want to sit for a second.
The Badlands District, located in Deadwood's Lower Main Street, was home where every sordid form of vice found a home. Gambling halls, brothels, saloons, opium dens, and rowdy theaters. Infamous characters such as Calamity Jane, Wild Bill Hickok, Colorado Charlie Utter, and others frequented its many establishments. The Badlands was the proverbial line in the sand separating the heathens from the hayload. Scores of establishments that occupied this devil's playground drew their support from many so-called leading citizens, so prosperous financially and were yet alone by the city authorities. Sometimes the line got blurred.
Sometimes.
Deadwood the Golden Years by Watson Parker.
Ooh, 2 of them. It's the economy, plain and simple. It's the one reason prostitution was allowed to survive and thrive in New Deadwood. For a certain degree, it takes a lot To operate a good brothel, think about it. Everyone wants drinks when they're partying, especially when liquor is prohibited. Any madam worth her weight would have connections with good hooch, which usually costs a small fortune. The girls dressed for success. The better the clothes, the better.
The better the clothes.
No matter, there's this red word weird.
Yeah.
No matter how few of them they wore, the better their chances could be of hooking up. Cosmetics, pharmaceuticals, those go without saying. Just like every other house, the house of ill repute had to be supplied with food, furnishing, goods. Many madams and girls had pet birds, dogs, cats. They needed food as well. All the brothels were rentals, which put money in the hands of the property owners. If 25 or more women with ample supply of cold, hard cash were to leave the community, who would take their place? Help support the local businesses. That's a good point.
Yeah.
You want to read the big one?
Sure. In the 1920s marked a period of transformation in Deadwood. World War I was over. Women had achieved the right to vote, and the United States was in the grip of prohibition. Despite, or perhaps because of, the ban on alcohol, vice industries like prostitution thrived, fueling a steady influx of working men in the burgeoning tourism industry. Now, the romantic image of placer miners panning for gold was the thing of the past. By this time, mining in Deadwood had become industrialized and largely corporate. Logging, ranching, and railroading also attracted droves of men to the region, creating a steady customer base for the brothels. Tourism would take hold in 1924, and the first days of 76 celebration was held, marking Deadwood's effort to draw tourists who were increasingly traveling by automobile. This influx of visitors further bolstered the sex trade. The brothels were vital to the local economy, indirectly supporting numerous businesses. The women's earnings found their way to the clothing stores, shoe shops, dry cleaners, hardware stores, and even bootleggers who thrived during Prohibition. Now, E.L. Sen, founder of the Deadwood Daily Telegraph, was one of the few locals who openly opposed prostitution. A staunch moralist, Sen sought to close the brothels, viewing them as a stain on Deadwood's reputation. Sen's efforts were unpopular. Most Deadwood residents were pragmatic about the economic benefits of the brothels and found his crusade excessive. Sen's moral zealotry earned him the ire of the community. A group of them took matters into their own hands, vandalizing his newspaper office, destroying and setting fire to the printing press.
First fire!
To drive the point home, they physically assaulted him, leaving him beaten but undeterred.
Well, they succeeded, didn't they?
Oh, yeah. In the 1920s, revealed the dual nature of Deadwood's relationship with its brothels. The sex trade was an integral part of the Deadwood economy, with brothels serving as a key source of income for many local businesses. While some, like Sen, sought to curb vice in the name of morality, the broader community tolerated or even celebrated the brothels for their contributions to local prosperity. This era encapsulates Deadwood's complex and often contradictory identity, a town steeped in vice, yet dependent on it for survival.
Thing is, if they wanted to get rid of prostitution, they had to have something to replace it, and nobody had any suggestions. And so I'd be like, okay, yeah, I agree with you. It's a terrible thing. But insight on Madame Fanny Hill, pervert of the honor of women and ponderer of lesser men. She owns lots of girls' bodies, clothes, and souls. She is permitted to offer them to sale, nightly debauchery to Deadwood men. She's permitted to parade them on the streets of Deadwood, the same as other business interests.
In 1924, near Deadwood, federal prohibition agents subpoenaed for federal court to return to Deadwood did not spend their time in idleness waiting for certain cases to come up. They utilized their time and presence making one of the biggest raids in the western part of the state. They found a 100-gallon still near the home of Gene Ferry, 40 miles southeast of Deadwood. In 1931, the still was discovered in an old abandoned mine in the Nevada Gulch in Lawrence County. That's just outside of town.
Right.
Authorities found a 50-gallon still, 50 gallons of whiskey, and 250 gallons of mash in an old mine, and arrested two men, L.V. Hamilton and Rodney Busby. Well, if you're going to be crawling underground, you probably don't want to be of a sane mind.
Much of the differential treatment of prostitutions and Johns in the U.S. today can be traced to the sexual double standard presented throughout the country's history. America's fight is fraught with sympathy for and excuses for sexual appetites of men, yet condones of women for essentially the same behavior. While women were being hauled before courts to answer for charges of prostitution, their male clients were not to be found within the courtroom. Thus, men satisfied the sexual desires with no consequences, while women alone paid the prices, which is never fair. Prostitutes were expendable waste of society, and people generally believe that prostitutes will not be missed when jailed. Now, that's just stupid. Otherwise, we wouldn't need the rig. On the other hand, to imprison or otherwise stigmatize the average male patron usually involves disrupting a man's respectable, I knew that wasn't going to be the word, standing in the community and even his marriage, which, duh. Mm-hmm. As of 1976 in South Dakota, the penalties for prostitution and hiring a prostitute are the same. Class 1 misdemeanor, which carries a sentence up to 1 year of imprisonment in the county jail or up to $2,000 in fines, or both. I always did think that was kind of silly. Yeah. That men it's okay for a man to have sexual needs, but it's not okay for the woman to have sexual needs. Yeah. And don't get me wrong, most of those women who were in that situation weren't there because they had sexual needs, but they needed a position, and that was what was available. They needed funds.
Brandy cattle. Interior of the great Coal State Gold Mine. Mining Up Day, Lead City, Deadwood Territory, 1898. Yeah, look at all the years with the stamp.
I know. They had lots of them, didn't they?
Yeah.
1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. I see like 9. Oh, we got some ladies here. That's cool. Lead daily call. Big Lou. Go ahead.
White slave suspect released on bond. Ellen Lucille Big Lou Moore, 34, Forest Lake, Minnesota. A white slave ring suspect was at liberty today on a $2,500 bond. The 310-pound woman.
Oh my goodness. She was a big girl.
Yes. Released from the Hennepin County Jail, where she was brought from Deadwood, South Dakota, following her arrest along with 15 others, in what FBI agents determined was the breaking up of one of the largest white slave rings in Northwest history. Still in jail is Cyril George Norton, alias Jack Norton, of Minneapolis, and Robert Ray Reynolds of St. Paul. The two men and the woman are alleged to have been principals of the operation of the ring. The 13 others are held at Deadwood are material witnesses.
Interesting. Black Hills is home to a healthy population of deer, elk, which makes it ideal for hunting. Hunting season runs from September to December. Hundreds of men come in the area to spend time with fellow hunters in the beautiful outdoors when the weather is crisp and leaves are changing, and they can bag a trophy buck to mount in the den. For some hunters, getting a deer was the last thing on their mind. Hunting was just an excuse to get away from the home, party like a frat boy, and take advantage of the vices the Badlands offers. Additional girls were brought in to meet the enlarged clientele. In addition, sex workers were required to see the doctor twice a week, rather than the traditional once a week. After the brothels closed, hunting season in the Black Hills was never the same again. I'm sure it was not.
No. In 1942, the newly constructed Ellsworth Air Force Base, located in Rapids, trained crews to fly the B-17 airplanes. Between 42 and 45, approximately 8,500 military pilots, radio operators, gunners, and navigators rotated through the facility. By 1950, the salaries paid to officers, airmen, and civilian employees working at Ellsworth pumped nearly $8.6 million into the local economy. When base personnel were flying into the Wild Blue Yonder, climbing high into the sun, You can be certain that some of them probably went to Deadwood to pay a visit to the brothels.
I would imagine they did.
Mm-hmm. Now, this is the 1939-1950s room. Brothels thrive amid war and change. By the late 1930s and through the 50s, brothels were well established and open secret in Deadwood. They operated within the informal boundaries of the Badlands District. The era saw significant local and global events. Completion of Mount Rushmore, wartime economic shift, and the establishment of Ellsworth Air Force Base outside of Rapid that shaped Deadwood's economy and community. Among these influences, the brothels remained a vital yet contentious aspect of the town. They left off a word there somewhere. In 1939, 7 brothels, including the Shasta Rooms at 610 and a half Main Street, openly operated within the Badlands District, a stretch of Main Street known for vice activities. Listings of these establishments even appeared in the 1939 phone directory, underscoring their open integration into Deadwood life.
I want that.
Whores listed in the phone book.
I want to see that phone book.
Yeah. In the 1940s, World War II brought changes to the local economy. The Homestead Gold Mine, a major employer, was repurposed for wartime production, manufacturing items like parachutes and grenades. The brothels created a steady clientele of miners, loggers, railroad workers, and now servicemen from the newly built Air Force Base. Sex workers were expected to operate strictly within the Badlands District, keeping their businesses discreet and confined. Women were to maintain decorum and avoid drawing negative attention to their work and undergo weekly medical checkups.
Because that sounds suspicious.
Yeah, to prevent the spread of sexually transmitted diseases. Brothel owners and the sex workers often gave back to the community in unspoken agreements. It's a trolley. For example, police officers reportedly found cash in their uniform pockets when picking up their dry cleaning, courtesy of the madams. Madams purchased a fire truck for the city.
Oh, that's cool.
And regularly made anonymous donations to causes like Little League teams, ensuring goodwill and continued operation. In 1943, Big Lou, the proprietor of one of the Mecca rooms, was arrested for violating the Mann Act, which forbade transporting women across state lines for immoral purposes. Although she is found guilty, such cases were rarely disputed the broader operation of the brothels. Most legal challenges ended with fines or dismissed charges, as the brothel's economic contributions often outweighed the will to enforce closure. The symbolic relationship between the brothels and Deadwood's community highlighted the pragmatic attitudes of the time. While some decried the moral implications, most locals recognized the financial benefits these establishments brought to their town during wartime and beyond. This old school radio.
Isn't it cool?
Here you go. Telephone directory for Deadwood, Lead, Spearfish, and Whitewood. 3-digit phone numbers.
Oh, you know, they're all halves.
Yeah.
So that means that there are none of those little nooks in between businesses that we saw.
Yeah. We're upstairs apartments, aka.
Ooh, want me to play nurse? Oh, I need a minute.
Yeah. Yeah. In the 60s and 70s, Deadwood's brothels were reduced to 4 establishments, and by the 70s, the color of its door, white, green, purple, and beige, were latter located here. These were the vibrant years shaped by the ethos of sex, drugs, and rock and roll, where Deadwood's sex trade remained a major draw for visitors and a key economic driver for the town. Rooms like this one, referred to the trick rooms, were designed for short transactional encounters. Furnished with practical and suggestive elements, they reflect the era's unabashed attitude towards sex work and its accompanying paraphernalia. Deer hunting seasons continue to be a lucrative time for the brothels, drawing eager hunters to the establishments. To handle the influx, madams like Pam Holliday of the Purple Door hired additional workers, including a trapeze artist, to entertain patrons. Every available space, even bathrooms, was used to seat customers.
Wow.
Despite societal shifts, many locals appreciated the brothel's impact on Deadwood's economy. The establishment supported a local business and contributed directly to the community events. A notable example involves a young girl collecting donations for UNICEF. Visiting all 4 brothels with her father, she raised nearly $500 in cash in 15 minutes.
That's a lot of money back then.
A testament to the madam's generosity. Sex workers were required to undergo health checks twice weekly to ensure public health standards were maintained. While some residents disapproved of the brothels, and many tolerated them for their financial benefits, the madams continued charitable donations and reinforced their goodwill within the community. During this period, the brothels became more structured, reflecting a professional approach to an age-old trade. These businesses thrived by adapting to the cultural shifts, leveraging the excitement of the 60s and 70s while maintaining Deadwood's unique balance of the acceptance and discretion.
Pleasure menu, blow your mind. Analyze this. Dusk to dawn. Good.
Vibrations.
That's a V. Okay, I wasn't sure if it was an O.
Yeah.
Handyman, straight up. Connie.
Lingus.
I'm not sure what that one would be. Phil Latino, therapy session. Naughty nurse. Nanette. Hanky Panky, 69. Pillow fight.
Hanky Spanky.
I like their names.
Yeah.
It wasn't always about sex. Some men visited the brothel just to talk and engage with somebody who wasn't going to be judgmental or do what you do when you're having a good time at the local bar and the bartender announces it's closing time, folks. You don't have to go home, but you can't stay here. You head to one of the brothels. Single couples, young, old alike, attended after-hour parties at the brothels. The sexual revolution transformed the American West. Now even cowboys can get laid. We were in the middle of the sexual revolution wearing clothes that guaranteed we wouldn't get laid.
Did the era of free love diminish the need to pay for sex? With the long-held rigid beliefs of sexual behavior wearing down, would men continue to pay for sex if they could get it for free? Turns out the upheavals of the 60s and 70s bolstered the sex work in Deadwood. The stigma around sexual activity had reduced, contraceptives were more accessible and effective than ever before, and the women's rights movements had an impact as well. In fact, sex work at the Deadwood brothels may have been more popular and accepted in its later years than ever before. Many sex workers that came through Deadwood were part of a professional circuit. In order to keep the menu options fresh, women moved between cities like Omaha, Kansas City, St. Louis, and LaGrange, Texas. All were looking for work, and amid the sexual revolution, it was flourishing. Now, the women's movement, the counterculture, and the development of new lifestyles had greater acceptance of pleasure and all kinds of improvements in the quality of life overlapped with the sexual revolution. There's no doubt that the sexual revolution in post-World War II America has changed sexual and gender roles permanently.
Do you say the brothels had a circus-like environment during the hunting season would be accurate statement. That was the busiest time of year, the cash cow. The brothels were overflowing with men encouraged to spend time with one or more of the girls. While men were kept waiting, the party would go on. After all, the name of the game was entertainment. Madam Pam Holiday gets credit for coming up with one of the most creative lures of the course, the crooked ways to keep a restless crowd happy. She had a local woman with the unique talent, a trapeze artist. She performed her act in a parlor to the appreciative crowd.
There's a picture of her. Jamie Summers.
In plastic.
Venereal diseases, these two words tend to make a person scrunch up their nose and feel ill at ease. Some of the more common types of venereal diseases include syphilis, chlamydia, gonorrhea, and pubic lice. Pubic lice.
Public lice?
Yeah. Venereal diseases pose a health risk to individuals who are sexually active. It was a serious professional problem for sex workers. Getting an infection potentially threatened their lives. In Deadwood, sex workers were checked weekly for signs of sexually transmitted diseases. In turn, sex workers regularly checked customers for visible signs of infection before offering services. Each sex workroom was equipped with a Peter Pan to ensure the customer cleanliness. If we do find something, we just tell the guy and send him on his way, tell him what we think he's got, and he should get it checked. We have to keep it clean or we'll go out of business. You need a Deadwood sex worker.
I mean, that
It's
makes
understandable.
sense.
Yeah.
And I think that's one thing that's missing from this day and age
Here's your Peter
is
Pan.
people were, responsible for each other. And they're not just themselves, but their partners. All right, our job may define what we do for a living, but we do not define who we are. But they do not define who we are. People are multifaceted, complex creatures. Tennis player Vanessa Williams has a master's degree in interior architecture that started an interior design firm at 23.
Condoleezza Rice.
Thank you. The Secretary of State and an accomplished concert pianist, first performed with the Denver Symphony at age 15. Lisa Kudrow,
Friends.
best known as the ditzy
Phoebe.
Thank you. My brain went blank. On Friends, graduated from Vassar with a degree in biology and worked on a study of the connection between migraines and left-handed people.
I have no migraines and I'm left-handed.
Ooh. The study was published in 1997. Model Christy Torrington
Yeah.
put her master's degree in public health from Columbia University to use by working with several women's health advocacy program groups as an advisor to the Harvard School of Public Health Boards of Deans. Oh my God, that's a lot of reading. Actress and producer Jessica
Chastain
is fluent in American Sign Language and regularly converses with fans.
Who was she, this seductive, often rowdy woman who started her work as the sun's last rays began to disappear? Was she a captive who was caught in the web of poverty, a victim of circumstance, or a willing participant in her profession? Most likely, she was all of the above.
Or at least two of the three.
Now, personal bedroom. Humanizing the women behind the train. This room is a tribute to the humanity of Deadwood sex workers, emphasizing that they were more than their occupation. They were real people with dreams, struggles, and stories. Mothers, daughters, and friends who navigated the complexities of their life while working in a controversial industry. Nitya Celia, alias Lee Turner, Nina was born into a life marked by abuse and hardship. At age 15, she'd given birth to 2 children, fathered by her stepfather,
Oof, nice.
with her mother's knowledge and complicity. By 26, she had arrived in Deadwood in 72. She'd already been a sex worker for 10 years and had married and divorced 4 times.
Oh, poor lady.
Nina worked at various brothels, including the Purple Door, Pine Rooms, and the Shasta Rooms. Now, despite the nature of her work, she found a sense of belonging and descended the brothels as having a family-like atmosphere. Living off-site with her 2 children, she balanced motherhood with her work life, though the journey was fraught with challenges. To cope with the demands of the sex work, Nina created alternate personas. She viewed her job as part acting, part con artistry. She noticed, you have to be an actress to con artist. I had all kinds of gimmicks to keep them busy and avoid sex. For Nina,
Interesting.
sex work was a double-edged sword. While it gave her a sense of power over a man and a way to vent frustrations, it also stemmed from a life shaped by trauma and survival tactics. Nina's narrative reveals the systemic issues that funneled women into sex work: abuse, lack of education, and economic instability. Her resilience and resourcefulness stand out, as does her ability to articulate the complexities of her life and choices. By sharing her story, this room invites visitors to reconsider preconceived notions about the sex workers and to emphasize with the individuals behind the labels. Nina's voice offers a poignant reminder to the need to understand the human circumstances behind such lives. Makes sense.
It does.
Here's a sketch of her. The long
If all we could talk, we would have lots of stories.
Oh, yeah. Then back to the main room, and then there's supposed to be a second hallway.
I believe so.
Yep.
Yes.
Just watch for the ghosts. That's all I'm going to say.
All right, we'll go back this way. Oh, wow. Money, get away, get a good job with good pay, and you're okay. Money is a gas. Grab that cash with both hands and make a stash. New car, caviar, 4-star daydream. You'll buy me a football team. Money, get back. I'll be right back. I'll be all right, Jack. Keep your hands off my sack. Money, it's a hit. Don't give me that goody bullshit. I'm in a high fidelity first class traveling set, and I think I need a linear jet. Money, it's a crime. Sure, it's fairly, but don't take a slice of my pie. Money, so they say, is the root of all evil, but if you ask for a raise, it's no surprise that they're giving none away. Away. Oh, interesting. It's your Pink Floyd.
Yes.
I'm sure you knew that before I started.
Oh, yeah. And interesting how their bank systems work, and they had clocks to tell you how long each person...
Oh, I'm still on mine. I'm just kidding.
Yes. Madam's office. Carrying central to business. The Madam's office was the heart of operations where financial transactions, record keeping, and critical decision making took place. This space reveals a balance of professionalism and the complexities of running an illegal yet highly organized enterprise. The financial process, as mentioned, card and slot system after a transaction. The sex worker documented the service, its price, and the client's payment on a card, dropped it with the money into her assigned slot in a convenient restroom. The pricing minimums was $1 a minute, overnight stays, 300 or more, non-sexual companionship, prices vary. One example includes a man paying $200 to discuss the Civil War for hours.
Wow. I guess you do that.
Mm-hmm. Revenue split, the madam kept 50%, covering overhead costs like room, board, and medical expenses. Worker retained the other 50%.
Which is pretty fair.
Yeah. Madams often kept emergency bail money hidden. Dixie Fletcher famously stashed cash in a vacuum cleaner to quickly bail out workers or herself if needed. Safe stored monies, weapons, and sensitive documents. Rolodexes likely containing the names of prominent clientele, a strategic safeguard in case leverage is ever needed. Now, this office was not merely a place for financial dealings, but also the hub of discretion and control. The madam played a pivotal role in the maintaining order, protecting the workers, and managing relationships with local authorities and influential figures. I love the money sticking out.
Right?
Okay. Well-behaved women rarely make it.
I'll sit down for a minute.
Yeah. Institution raided at dawn in Deadwood. Deadwood citizens protest the brothels. A small group concerned about the community's reputation and taking advantage of the upcoming courthouse hearing to voice their objections to local houses of prostitution. A dozen people collected more than 200 signatures on petitions which ask the brothels be closed permanently, which support the state's contention the houses are a nuisance. Wonder how many people bypass Deadwood because of the houses. If they're as good for business, maybe we should franchise them like Colonel Sanders. They don't have opium dens anymore. They don't shoot people in the streets anymore. It's not a thing of the past. We should leave it there. And he'll turn around and less than a month later they talk about the Shedding Anger Today show.
That was kind of fun.
George orders the 3 brothels shut down permanently in October of that same year. 1980 was the year.
Have any questions?
Protest continues. Fourth Rose disease.
Not so far.
Auction of Pam's purple door.
Yeah. And he said the one lady barely got back in time to catch the auction for this stuff.
Oh, wow.
Dog name was Calamity Jane.
That's kind of cool that they have real pictures. A story saved. All accounts of the past derived from memories, traditions, physical evidence that survived historical organizations preserve them so people can access history's gifts and lessons. Museums and historical sites are most trusted. These organizations, without them, the past would be dim and forgotten altogether. Very cool. Quick guide to the story. Oh, that's cool.
At a meeting that November,
Interesting.
more than 100 people showed up to hear from a former madam, a minister, and a law enforcement officer to discuss the 100 years. That must have been one heck of a meeting.
That must have been an interesting one. I do agree. Cheyenne's rooms, cozy rooms, nifty rooms, Mecca rooms, Chester rooms. Interesting.
People that donated to help upkeep.
I hate society's notion that there is something wrong with sex. Something's wrong with a woman who loves sex. What's the name? That which is called by Rose, and a name so sweet. A woman isn't a whore for wanting pleasure. If it were for unnatural, we would not be burdened with such desires. Pretty cool.
Old hat.
Available now. Ooh.
On to history.
That's that walking tour.
Yeah.
I was hoping it was more.
Hoping.
I should have known better. Brothels are closed. Sorry, Deadwood would make pages. Queen City Mall. Interesting. Ready?
Ready. Look, I didn't know if I'm down the stairs, huh?
How dare you?
All I wanted to do was talk about the Civil War for a couple hours.
Right?